welcome back to another video. I am at Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, and I'm not really prepared for this shoot. Well, I am. I've got all my kit with me, but there's a huge amount of spray. It's the end of the rainy season, so there's a huge amount of water falling from the falls, and you can probably hear it in the background, so I have to really raise my voice because I haven't brought my microphone kit with me. Yeah, I've just been walking through the park this morning. I've taken a few images, but it's all about today using my camera handheld, keeping the lens clean. I've got one lens, just a 12 to 35mm, and as I go through the different viewing spots, I'll basically show you some of the views and some of the images that I take. So it's going to be a little bit of a different video today because I have to work super quick because of the mist and the humidity and all of the spray that's coming off the falls. So yeah, come with me and have a look at Victoria Falls, and I'll show you what I can get. So I'm at the main Livingstone statue lookout, and it's a very touristy area. Obviously there's a lot of tourists here. I was reading up last night online about how to do landscape photography here, and it is very seasonal. Unfortunately my trip coincided with the end of the rainy season, as I said. So it is going to be really challenging, but it is a once in a lifetime experience to come here. And the photographic conditions are super tough. I actually feel a little bit exposed not being able to get my filters out. But yeah, it should be pretty interesting. And I'm just going to head up to the Livingstone statue lookout here and see what I can get. So you can probably see behind me the amount of mist, and actually the diffused light coming off the mist as well. So it's really difficult to expose for some of the images. So I'm having to underexpose most of the time, and then I'm not using a tripod at the moment, so I can't even bracket. So it's going to be a lot of Lightroom work afterwards. It's not ideal, but again, I can't really let the opportunity slip. I've got to try and make the best of the conditions that I have and work handheld. The sunlight's really strong, and it's very hot, so yeah, that's why I've got the hat on today, make sure I don't get sunburned. So every now and again there's a break in the mist, and once the mist breaks and lifts, you obviously get better visibility. So I've just had a really lucky moment there. I like to work very quickly, just in vertical mode, and managed to get a couple of good images. Yeah, I'm actually curious, wondering if even using like a slow shutter speed, you'd be able to do these waterfalls justice. I don't think so. I think the speed of the water and the force of it is so strong, it would make slow shutter speed work very difficult. So one of the challenges photographically is really trying to convey the full force and strength of the water that's falling. So I've just actually changed lenses to the 3500, which is like a 70 to 200mm equivalent, and I've zoomed in a little bit on the water that's falling and tried to actually get some images there just to show the power of the water. So this is where it starts to get interesting, because as you can see behind, there's a huge amount of spray. We've been up to the Livingstone statue, we're now heading towards the main fall, and yeah, we don't have any ponchos. I say we because my daughter's with me behind the camera, and we're just dressed in our t-shirts and our pants, and I'm looking there, there's a massive backdraft of spray coming up from the falls. So as we go along the path, I think we're going to get very wet. Not sure whether there's going to be any photo opportunities to the other side, but we'll see when we get there. Also, my apologies for the sound. I'm going to shout as loud as I can. Hopefully you'll pick it up on the video. So luckily the GH5 is weatherproof and waterproof, because as I just ran to get that photo at point number 4, yeah, I got soaking wet, and you can actually see, I'm going to turn the camera here and my daughter's just going to run past. You can see it's almost like rain. It's literally like it's raining. A lot of tourists here with ponchos and umbrellas. I don't really subscribe to that. You're just an encumbrant, really. But, yeah, you do get good views, but I think for landscape photography, you'd have to come a little bit between the wet season and the dry season to really take advantage of the conditions. Right now, it's all handheld work and it's very challenging. So one of the questions you might have is, as this is a very difficult environment to photograph in, especially for landscape work, you know, it is very touristy. Obviously with the spray, can't really get my filters out, can't really get my tripod out. How am I actually working? Well, normally on a tripod for landscape I'd use manual settings, always in manual mode, do manual aperture, manual shutter speed and so on. But here I'm actually using all my skills as a wildlife photographer and shooting in aperture priority mode. So I'm dialing it in pretty much between f9 and f11, and then I'm using the exposure compensation simply because there's a lot of reflected light coming off the mist. And so that mist will actually reach a peak mist, it will then drop, and the exposure compensation allows me to basically expose correctly depending on how quick that diffused light comes and goes. So that's why I'm using aperture priority mode, especially as it's handheld. I want to get stability in my shot, so I want my shutter speed to be up. So again, I can control my ISO, and actually the ISO is linked to the shutter speed, so like that I get sharp shots. So that's a little bit how I'm working today, handheld. So we've arrived at the main area and the main viewing point on the main fall. Apologies, there's going to be water drops on the lens. There's not a lot I can do about that. So yeah, I'm going to head up there, try and get a good vantage point. And I'm actually going to try and do a panoramic. That's going to be very challenging. But I'll see if I can stitch the images together in Photoshop later on. But yeah. It's just so impressive. I mean, the full force of the water coming there. I don't think I'm going to be able to do justice with this video, but it really is impressive. Very, very impressive. So that's one of the more challenging photographic experiences I've had. You literally walk out just behind me and it's like a monsoon. So I'm not sure whether I got the images, I'm not sure whether I got my panoramic. There's actually a lot of foreground interest as well. Obviously they fenced off for safety reasons, so you can't get a full view all the way down onto the 93 metres because the fall is actually 93 metres high. So I've had to think very quick on what I can actually do. And again, you can't really change lenses. I've still got the sort of the 12 to 35 on the GH5, which is like 24-70 equivalent, and had to think very quickly. So yeah, it's actually an interesting challenge to do this type of photography. Something I'm not used to. It's a little bit more sort of touristy than normal, working very, very quickly. I'd much rather use my tripod, which is on my back, but it's just not possible today. But still, it's an amazing, amazing experience to be here. So the spray has finally beaten me. I got to about the 10th or 11th lookout point and the visibility was pretty much zero. There was so much spray. It was like being in a monsoon. I'm completely soaked head to toe. You can see my hat is totally soaked. The weight of the water's pushing it down. So I decided not to go any further along the main fall where you actually get to the bridge, because this afternoon I'm actually going to view the falls from a completely different experience, a completely different angle. So I should be able to get images from that experience this afternoon. But yeah, it's been really interesting. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. It's been a complete challenge for me, having to do a lot of landscape photography handheld as opposed to with a tripod. So I just wanted to share that with you, and yeah, you can subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and there's lots of good information in the description. So I'll see you in the next video.